Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Tuesday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA, and it is time for Tuesdays with DX Engineering. And this is a show where we get in the minds of some of DX Engineering's best technical and sales support people, and they're all the best. And today we have our special guest. It's Dave Fairbanks, N8NB. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Tim, and hello, everybody out there. Welcome.
And of course, if you're a DX Engineering customer, you may have talked to Dave on the phone or maybe even by email. Dave, let's talk a little bit about your experience. How long have you been a licensed amateur radio operator?
Pretty long to count. I was licensed in 1961, believe it or not. So that's 63 years, if my arithmetic's right.
Well,
And
61. I think you've actually you've got a lot of years. That's really good. That's really good. What was your first call sign, Dave?
uh, KN8CZF. Back then, they put an N in there for novices. And
Right.
then I had 1 year to get a license, so I went to K8CZF. I went up to Cleveland to the Naval Reserve Station, and there was this grumpy guy giving the code test, and luckily I passed.
K8CZF. Not
Right?
a real great call sign.
No, I
and
have a better CW call sign now.
and so when did you get N8NB?
It was about 25 years ago. I had an advance for a long time, and I upgraded to the extra, and then goes along with that getting a better call. And
Right. And but along the way since 1961, you have all this experience of being on
mhm.
the air, right?
Yes, everything's changed amazingly. Back then the AM guys were swearing at the sidewinders. They called them SSB guys, and now the SSB guys swear at the FT8 guys. I don't know, not really, but there's a certain prejudice amongst the groups. The older groups like the older modes, but
Right.
FT8 is really hot.
Oh, FT8 is really, really hot. Let's talk about the shack there at N8NB. What do you have in the shack? What's the main radio there?
The center radio is an FTDX 101MP, and on the floor is an ACOM 2000A. So that's my main DX station. Next to that, to the right of that FTDX 101MP is my IC 7300, and I usually use that for FT8 contacts, believe it or not. And it's come through like a champ on some of those. Um, I don't. I have friends that have spent 6 hours calling one DX station on FT8, and I out of matter of fact, just listened to him. I went back home and turned on the FT8's radio, so I got the guy in 20 minutes. So, but
There you go.
I
There
said,
you go.
uh,
Now, do you have any antenna tuners, Dave?
yeah, far left is an AT5K. If you go all the way down
Yeah,
to
the Pal Star.
down here is a Palstar AT5K, and then there's a speaker for the 101 MP. Upstairs is a Step IR tuner, and then an Arco tuner, and a Palstar dummy load.
Nice. Now let's go back to the ACOM 2000A amplifier. How
Hmm.
long have you had that amplifier, Dave?
Probably, I think 8 years.
Eight
It's been a
years.
champ, yeah,
Wow. And
and
how
it
does it work for you?
beautifully. It's the most, it's one of the most reliable pieces of equipment I've ever had. Uh, I got some kind of minor lightning strike. It took out my 756 Pro and didn't bother the amp. But
Wow.
it has so many default circuits. You can overload it, put it into bad load and open load, and it'll just shut down and tell you screwed up, which is
Right.
wonderful. I've made lots of mistakes in the past, and I appreciate that kind of equipment.
Right. That actually looks out and tries to keep you from blowing up. Now, um, tell us about your backyard. You got a lot of space. What do you got going on in the backyard?
I have a half acre lot. I have a crank up tilt over tower that was a real adventure last January because the tree hit the antenna and broke the rotor out of its housing or out of its base, blew the screws right off. So I had to lower it down and get the rotor out and change a bunch of things. And that took a good part of January. One friend had a machine shop, uh, Jim Federoff. He made extra parts for my crank up and crank down rotors or crank down winches. And I got it up to about 40 feet. And then they wire snagged at the end of January. And I said, that's it. If I don't get Bouvet, then I'm not going to get it. Luckily, I got it.
Oh, good. We always like to hear the success stories, and getting Bouvet was not an easy deal, Dave.
Oh, geez, the first 2 days, I was ready to turn the radio off and say, hey, this isn't going to happen. There's so much bad QRM and intentional QRM that it was very disheartening. Um, after about first 2 days, it was really tough, and I sent a few call signs out full power, and everybody else was calling too, and they were people calling CQ on his frequency and just tuning up on it and jamming it. So I came back a couple of days later and fired it up, and it wasn't quite as bad, and I got him.
Good.
So that was good.
Now, Dave, the word on the street at the DX Engineering water cooler, which is now around Zoom and Teams and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you remember the good old days when we had, we were talking about QST and everything around the water cooler every morning. But the word on the street is that you just got new wallpaper from the ARRL DX division.
Yes, I did. That was quite a challenge. I remember, everybody said, oh, 160s for the big boys. You can't do much on that. So I started the challenge. Scott got into it, and he was saying, I got this one on FT8 and that on FT8. I ended up getting most of them on CW because I like it. And I got this certificate, which is 160 meter DXCC. And
beautiful.
Only 3,900 of these have been issued, which is strange considering how many thousand people I heard on, on 160 trying to get these. But, people in the middle Africa aren't really looking for Ohio. So
right. But, you worked and confirmed at least 100 countries on what they call the top band, 160 meters. Now, what kind of giant antenna did you have?
Wasn't a giant. I call it a Rod Ehrhart tilted vertical. Basically, I had a radial plate with a bunch of radials and a ballon, and I ran 135-foot wire from that. Ran it in some different directions. The best result was running it as an inverted V configuration to my radial plate. And that hauled in Georgia and several of the deep Africa stations, which I'm not going to change. I had experimented with probably 15 different antennas to see what I could do with, middling results. FT8 was fun. I think I got a few contacts with FT8, but I liked working CW and especially CQ Worldwide contests because the DX stations wanted to work you then. Right.
And so that, contests are always great because the activity is high.
Oh, yeah.
But congratulations on a tremendous accomplishment, Dave.
Thank you.
Speaking of the ARRL, just got the latest QST, which is coming in, going to be in everybody's mailbox here real shortly. Ham radio at the top of the world. So this is April 2024 QST. And look inside. Look at inside what you get here, Dave. You got the DX Commander.
Oh, yeah. Great antenna.
Great antenna. And so a full page ad about the DX Commander here in this month's QST. And then, of course, we have a couple of our other employees on the ad here for DX Engineering for MCOM, Emergency Communications. Do you get a lot of calls, Dave, guys setting up emergency communication systems?
Oh, yeah. They want all kinds of radios and want to know antennas. They're really into antennas, and we have all these chameleon and other antennas that go up fast and work great. And they're interested in the antennas. They pretty much know their transceivers and things, but they want the best antenna possible
Sure,
and the
sure. And
shortest time to install.
quick deployment, fast install, and that work good. So yeah, having a good antenna. And Dave, let's take a look and see who's in the chat room here.
Okay.
We've got X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu from Michigan is there.
Cool.
Our friend John from South Carolina is
Cool.
on. That's November Juliet 4 Zulu. And we got Joe, Kilo Norway 4, India Fox India. And he says, Dave, I was 2 years old when, and I was 2 years old too when Dave got his license. He got his novice in 1980, and he got it. It looks like he was up in Alaska, Dave. Whiskey Lima 7.
Cool. Yeah.
Alpha Kilo Whiskey. And speaking of being up north, here's Darren, Victor Echo 9, Alpha Echo. And John says, I loved the full page ad for the DX Commander antenna in this month's QST. Wonderful antenna. And of course, everybody that gets the DX Commander, Dave, they've had really good luck with it.
It's a good performer. You get all those bands, and it actually gets out, for a reasonable price and easy to set up, pretty hard to beat.
It is hard to beat. Dan, WA4 Mike Oscar Mike is on from Kentucky. And from Belgium, it's Oscar Norway 7 Zulu Victor. Guy is on with us. And another one from Belgium, John, Oscar Norway 8 Echo India. And our friend Steve down in Texas, November Alpha 5 Charlie, who I believe is coming to Hamvention. Dave, before you know it, Hamvention's going to be here.
Yeah, it's a big event. If you can go to, Contest University, it's not just for contesters. You'll find the best operators in the world there, and you can pick up tips from them. And I did that several years, and it helped my operating ability immensely. But if you love contesting, that's the place to be. The Hamvention is wonderful also. You get to see things and talk to people who have never seen in a long time. So I may make it, but I've had some health issues that I'm going to stick around probably this year. Stay in the
and although we think everybody goes to Hamvention, there's lots of hams that can never make it. And so we're thankful to guys like you that stay back and are on the phones and helping customers during Hamvention that need help too, because that's the May time of year, and it's a great time to be working on antennas. Dave, do you have any antenna projects lined up for this year?
I got to find something for to help on some of the UHF bands. I'm getting into that a little bit more. I never really worked CW on 2 meters or anything like that, so I want to try some of the the DX like to Michigan on 2 meters.
There you go. And I want to give a shout out to Chad, Kilo Fox 0 Oscar Zulu Papa, newly licensed. Congratulations, Chad.
All right.
And
congratulations.
And if you need help, you just call into DX Engineering, and you might get to talk to Dave. But congratulations on your new license, Chad. We've got also Craig is on, Whiskey Echo 2 Delta X-Ray. And here also is November Lima 7 Whiskey or Victor X-Ray is on as well. So lots
cool.
going on in the hobby. Dave, thank you so much for coming on today.
Very welcome.
Enjoyed talking about your long history with amateur radio, and certainly, over 60 years experience. When you call in and you talk to Dave, N8NB on the phone, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's been there, done that, and he's got the DXCC on 160 meters on a really small lot to prove that it can be done. Dave, thanks so much for coming on.
Very welcome, Tim. Glad to be here. Thank you.
It's a joy to have you on the team. And thanks to all the team members at DX Engineering for doing what you do every day to help all of our customers and soon to be customers have more fun with the best hobby in the world. I got to give a shout out to Skip here. Dave is a great source for everything ham radio, always a smile and great stories. And that's our good friend Parky, KB8UUZ, behind the Skip Long Path. And thanks to all of you for watching today. If you missed the show last Friday, that was the Hamvention Awards show. Go back on Facebook or YouTube, and you can see those shows. And we'll look for you on the next time here at DX Engineering. Until then, 73.